Okay everyone, so today I'll be showing you the 3D Brain app, and this is what it first looks like when you open it. It shows the whole brain. So this app is really useful if you're teaching kids about science or anatomy and physiology. They can learn the different parts of the brain. You can look at it as far as different grade levels if you don't want to go in depth, so far in depth, because it doesn't have a lot of wealth of information. I used this app when I was doing physio psychology for my graduate degree, so it's really beneficial for that. So let's look and go into the app. So this is what the brain looks like. You can use it around and move it around with your finger, so it shows the inside of the brain as well as the outside. So it goes into the sulci and the gyri, which are the little creases and the folds of the brain. So this is to look at the whole brain, but you can also go more in depth and look at the different structures of the brain, such as the amygdala, which is right there, and they always highlighted in different colors, depending on what you're looking at. And also with each structure of the brain, it'll show like different case studies. So it'll talk about different case studies that had to do with that part of the brain. Shows the function of the brain. So if you're quizzing kids on that, as far as the different functions associated with different parts of the brain, you can look into doing that. And it also shows different cognitive disorders. So this one in particular has been associated with autism and different brain abnormalities as far as the brain stem and associated damage and different substructures that are associated with this particular part. And it also cites the source, which is really beneficial. We want to go and do further research and look in further what's going on with the brain stem. And it does have an option to upgrade if you want to do that, but this particular one is free. And based on this, you can always create a Quizlet depending on the different things that you're looking at. So this is the underside view of the brain, and it also has the labels. So you'll just click on labels if that's what you want to see, and it highlights it in different colors. You can also search different parts of the brain. So we'll search maybe the hippocampus, which is right here. So, like I said, it goes into this, the different functions that's related to Alzheimer's disease and associated damage. So, some case studies are really interesting. Some go back to like the 1800s or 1985, just depending on what you may want your kids to study. So, a good activity for this may be switching the kids up into different groups so they can look at different parts of the brain and maybe teach the class. So that's a really good activity to do. Or get kids to maybe sketch different parts of the brain and label it. So this is the human brain, but you can maybe even try activities with different animal parts and just see how the human brain may differ from that. I know in my class we looked at the sheep's brain and we had to locate the different structures and compare it to the human brain. So just going through some of these, they have the occipital lobe. So they have the different lobes of the brain, and you can look at it from different angles and also see what's going on inside the brain. You can label it, like I said, and it talks about the different parts of it. And they also go into the gyri and the sulci, which are like the different folds of it, but it doesn't go into too much depth on each one, just mostly goes into like the really important ones. So right now we're looking at the dentate gyrus, and we want to label it just to give ourselves a little reminder. It shows us different views of it, like I said, and we want to get some more info about it. So this is a case study when they use mice and associated exercise with pregnancy. Talks about different cognitive disorders and associated damage, and it has those articles cited at the end also, and the different links. So you just click on the links and go to that also. So this is a really good tool to use in class. You can put it on your desktop. It has a desktop version. It's compatible with iPad and the iPhone. So if kids have that at their disposal, they can follow along with you in class if you allow that. So it also shows the different systems of the brain. So not just the different parts, but also the different systems and what they may do and their role in the brain. So another thing you can look at has different areas which are associated with different damages, like Wernicke's area. which a lot of us may have heard about. And it talks about different aphasias as far as speech. And so you can look at those different things and go further into it if you want your class to do that. And this, in particular, the Wernicke's area, which we study a lot in undergrad, is associated with language comprehension. So it talks about different mental illnesses. So that's really good to look at if your kids may be studying that, or even if your kids are taking like DARE or drug education classes, and you may want them to go further in depth on learning how different drugs may affect different brain systems and the functions they may have and what can actually happen if it affects a certain system. So it also goes into the different ventricles in the brain. So this is just really in depth, but it's a really good tool, maybe even for your personal use if you're not really sure about the brain. If you want to just learn a little bit more and do different research, if you hear something on like a TV or a movie and you want to investigate it, maybe it's a really good tool to have so you can see just how your brain functions, and even kind of play Dr. Google. And if you're having any issues, you can always look into this app and see what your issues may be coming from if you're having trouble with certain functions in your own body. So this is just a really good tool to use, and you can upgrade it like I said, but this one is free and it has a lot of different things that it does. So it's a really good tool to use, and I think this is really appropriate maybe for high school and older, just depending on what you're teaching in science class, how advanced your students may be. But just a good tool to use as far as looking at the different anatomies of the brain. And maybe even if your kids may be going to different museums in Houston, I know in particular the Health Museum, if they may be looking at a live brain like I did back in elementary, we looked at a live brain. It may be interesting to well, not a live brain, but a brain that was preserved, a human brain that was preserved. So if your students are going to that museum, you may want them to look and investigate in this app just a little more so they can see what they may be looking at, identify it, and ask questions and research it a little bit more on their own. So this is a 3D Brain app. I hope you found this presentation interesting. It has a lot more things that you can go in depth for yourself, but it's just interesting to look at, and it has the labels and it goes really in depth, and it is research supported. So this is something that you can use maybe for yourself and your personal use, or even for your students, just depending on what y'all might be studying. So I think this is really good if you're doing a unit on something like this, maybe in science or anatomy and physiology, and you just want to further study. Like I said, the different things in here, you can even create a Quizlet on if you want to quiz yourself on different parts of the brain. I know that's how I used it when I used this